Thank you so much for joining me for this core-centered class today. We're going to use a block, and if you've got anything block shaped, it doesn't have to be a specific yoga block, but when you've got what you need, we're just going to meet lying down. And if we just take our block to the side just for the very beginning, we're just going to start by activating our core. So maybe just allowing everything to relax at the very beginning. We're going to start by checking in with that little space at the very bottom of the spine. So the spine has a natural curve, and if you feel like you've got a little gap at the very bottom of the spine, we're just going to start by rolling the pelvis back. And what that's going to do is it's going to press the lower back into the floor and activate the core. So that's where we're going to start. Breathing in deeply. As we exhale, we're going to draw the knees into the chest. With the next inhale, we're going to take the arms to cactus, so just lying them down on the sides. And with the next exhale, we're going to lower the knees down to the right. And we get to take this as slowly as we need to. As we inhale, we're taking the knees back into center. And with the next exhale, we're going to lower them over to the left. Inhaling, drawing them into the chest. And then exhaling over to the right. So we're finding that big stretch all through the side body, and we're finding that little bit of control at the core. So as we exhale, we're allowing everything to lower, and as we inhale, we're drawing everything back into the center. And you don't have to come all the way down, right? We're just looking for that natural stopping point where the knees want to stop. And then when everything's feeling a little bit more familiar, then from here, we're going to see about taking the shins around about parallel to the floor. Breathing in deeply. We're looking for that place where everything feels engaged. So we're going to press that little point at the lower back into the ground. And from here, we're just going to take hold of that block that we've started with. So if we take the block into our right hand, then as we exhale, we're going to pass it behind the legs. We've got to squeeze to lift the shoulders and the head. And then as we inhale, we're going to take it into the left hand, around behind the head, into the right, squeezing to stay lifted. As we exhale, we're going to pass it behind the legs. And as we inhale, we're taking it back behind the head. The exhale takes the block forwards, finding that little squeeze that lifts us. And as we inhale, taking the block behind, but we're squeezing to stay lifted. And we're going to take one more pass behind the legs, inhaling, taking the block behind the head. And with the next exhale, allowing everything to soften down to the floor. And maybe just taking a little rock from side to side with the hips, allowing the lower back, the shoulders and the head to sink down. And we're going to take it round the other way. So just unwinding everything that we've wound up here. If we start by taking the shins around about parallel to the floor, they don't have to be perfect. We're going to squeeze the tummy to lift the head and the shoulders. And this time we're taking the block into the left hand. So as we exhale, the block comes behind the legs. And as we inhale, we're taking it behind the head. Exhaling, drawing everything close, squeezing. And then with the inhale, taking the block behind. With the exhale, we're going forward, squeezing to stay lifted. And as we inhale, we've got to squeeze to keep up as the block comes behind. So if we take one more pass behind the legs, inhaling the block behind. And then with the next exhale, lowering everything down, taking a little rock from side to side and allowing the head and the shoulders to relax down into the mat. Drawing a deep inhale in through the nose. From here, we've got the option to take that variation with the legs bent once more. The second option is going to be to extend the legs and maybe pointing the toes so that they point all the way up towards the ceiling. Breathing in deeply. From here, we're going to squeeze the tummy to lift the head and the shoulders. And as we exhale, the block comes behind. And as we inhale, we're going to pass it behind the head. Exhaling, drawing it forwards, and then inhaling, sending it back, staying lifted, squeezing the tummy, keeping everything moving and trying not to speed up too much. Breathing in behind, exhaling forwards, and then taking one final round, drawing the knees in to the chest and allowing everything to relax as much as possible, taking that little break in the middle and maybe a little rock from side to side, but allowing everything to come back to that place of somewhat neutrality. Drawing a deep inhale in through the nose, filling the belly and releasing a full exhale. We're going to take it round the other way. We always get to take the variation that feels the best. So maybe it is with the bent legs, right? Otherwise, pointing the toes, we're going to squeeze the tummy to lift the head and the shoulders. As we exhale, the block comes behind, starting in the left hand this time. And as we inhale, taking it behind the head. Exhaling, squeezing to keep everything lifted. And then inhaling, drawing the block behind. With the exhale, we're coming forwards, finding that little squeeze. And with the inhale, sending the block behind, staying lifted, keeping everything nice and activated. And then just taking one final round behind the legs and then drawing them in close. Resting the head and the shoulders down, and maybe taking that little rock from side to side, but finding that place where you can take a really deep inhale, filling the belly, allowing all the muscles to lift and expand. And with the next inhale, we've got one final option. So for this, we're going to see about extending the legs long. Just to start with, we're going to squeeze the tummy, lifting the head and the shoulders off of the floor. And from here, we're going to take the feet so that they point up on around about a 45-degree angle, thereabouts. If we take our little block, we're going to take the feet as wide as the mat, and then placing the block under the left leg, and then dropping it under the right. Here we go, finding that little scissor kick and just placing the block under one leg and then under the other. Keeping that movement going, keeping the breath going as well, and making sure you're not speeding up too much. Breathing in deeply and exhaling fully. And then if we take one more pass either side, as we exhale, we're going to draw the knees into the chest, allowing the head, the shoulders to relax down and the tummy to fill and expand on the inhale, releasing any tension that's building up. And we're just going to take one final round. So reversing that movement, that scissor kick, taking a deep inhale. We're going to extend the legs long, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, finding that place where we can squeeze the tummy to lift the head and the shoulders, taking the toes to around about 45 degrees and then as wide as the mat. And from here, we're going to place the block under one leg and then under the other. Finding that little scissor kick, keeping everything engaged and lifted, but taking as many breaks as you need, right? You get to come in and out as much as feels good. And then from here, if we just take 2 more passes under each leg, we're going to draw the knees into the chest, resting the head and the shoulders down. Allowing everything to slowly soften and release. And from here, if we place our block down to the side, we're going to land the soles of the feet. If we draw them in as close towards the glutes as possible, resting the hands down on the mat, or taking the option to reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling, seeing which one feels the best in your body. From here, we're going to squeeze the glutes, pressing the hips forwards and up, finding our way up into our bridge. And it's just going to add that extra little bit of release all across the front line of the body. Breathing in deeply, staying up for the exhale. And then with the next exhale, taking the hips all the way down to the floor, resting the hands down, maybe extending the legs long, and just allowing everything to rest.